Real Business Talk with Tom and Till.
So, I had a question, which was, how do I deal with constraints in my business? Constraints in terms of boundaries. Tom, do you want to start? Because I have heard you in a coaching session from that we gave to someone, and that was pretty interesting what you had to say about that.
Yeah, when it comes to constraints, I like to set up constraints myself in my business. So I will create boundaries before even starting the business. So, for example, if I don't like dealing with clients, the business will have to be one where someone else deals with clients, or we just don't have to do it. There's like a platform or something. If I want to travel, then it's got to be something where I can do it all from a laptop. But I like to set up things in place which then make my life easier. It's much tougher when you build a business first and then you start coming up with constraints. So you're working 120-hour weeks, you're living, let's say, in Brooklyn. You have to open and close every single day, and you have to pick up checks from someone in person, and then you say, well, I want to travel. That's really hard to first get the clients to do something else that they're not used to. It's going to be really difficult to get new clients if you've been getting them, let's say, in person. Like, you should set up these constraints before. Yeah, and even, like if you're trying to get clients, which you're probably going to have to in some way, like, you should figure out the constraints of how I'm going to get these clients. So if I only want to talk to them through email or Skype, then I have to create a funnel from the beginning that's going to work in that environment. Not one where I'm going to try to push them off later into it once I move. Because I've seen a couple people do that and fail. They were getting things done one way, then they changed up their whole business model by moving or traveling, and everything collapsed. Then they went home broke, started doing the same thing, and not changed anything, and they're stuck. And I've seen that, so I like to set up constraints beforehand.
Yeah, what happens there is, I would explain with the Parkinson's law. A task or anything expands to its boundaries. So that means if you set any constraints that are set, let's say in this case on your business, the environment will just expand to these boundaries, to the constraints. So if the constraints are bigger, normally let's say you have a brick and mortar business that you can get in touch with the clients directly, and then you would just tighten it up. Things can break because people get dissatisfied. Let's say if you are talking with a client every week, and then you're setting it up to travel and shift it to once per month, that client might just jump off.
Yeah, because the relationship was started in a different way, and they assume something different than what you're giving them now. That's why I said, once you start the relationship in the way you want to, with the within the constraints that you want to, the client's going to know that, well, this is the way Tom deals with things. So
yeah.
I obviously know that if I'm becoming his client, right? And I tell people, like, this is the way I do it. If you don't like it, then I might not be the right person for you.
Yeah, you can say that in the beginning, but not in the course of the relationship. That normally doesn't work.
You can, but it usually doesn't work. Like, getting a client to change their ways is really difficult, and you'll most likely lose them.
True. Let me expand this thing a bit on how to enforce constraints that are artificial. So let's say you're going to travel in a month, and you want to set the constraints much tighter than they are possibly right now. How would you confine those constraints into a smaller frame artificially?
I like to do test runs. Like, before I moved out of the States for a longer time, I moved cities a couple times just to test things, right? Like, I wasn't too far, but I started setting these constraints, but I was close enough where I could still go back and fix things or show up if I needed to, within the old constraints, right? So I made a test. And then I started fixing things. Yeah, I lost a couple clients. I changed some things. I gained some new clients in a new way. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. But I test things. Right? Like, anytime you're going to switch things, it's good to don't completely close off that door until you know that the new way is working.
Yeah. I mean, what you did, you went to another city and then found clients remotely, right?
Yeah, but initially I still had a couple clients which said, and this was insane, but they're like, dude, you got to come in person and pick up the checks. We got to talk. So I was like, well, for a couple $1,000s, I was like, I'll get on the plane. I'll do it once. Then I'll do it maybe another time. And then I was like, you know what? Now I replace these clients. And then I said, you know what? This is my PO box. Either send it off or you're gone. And few did, most didn't. And it's fine.
Yeah, that totally works. Also, what works really well is to switch to Skype in order to personal interactions.
Yeah, I've done that, but a lot of clients which didn't start that way, and some of these old school guys, and a lot of countries, it's still really old school. Like in America, down south, it's old school, man. Like even New York, you get to like Brooklyn, these guys still do it really in person. Everything's in person. In Japan, fax machines everywhere, right? Like these
Fax
guys,
machines.
yeah, dude, fax machines. Every business. You go to Tokyo, half of them don't have a website and sell fax machines. And people they work through relationships. It's like, I've known you because he knows my dad and you know this guy. We've had a relationship for 30 years and we don't sell to anyone else but each other. And it is that way, but there's also different types of clients and different types of people, and you'll find them by setting up these constraints, right?
Yeah.
But they're going to be different than the clients you previously had. They are going to be different.
Yeah,
Dude,
I like
trust
that.
me, getting like a 40-year-old guy that's never been on the computer other than to like play Scrabble or something and get him on Skype, forget about it.
Yeah, true.
If you liked what you heard, please leave us a review on iTunes.
They do matter.
Also, come and hang out with us on our website, yourownwayout.com. That's yourownwayout.com. See you soon.